Hey, what's up, y'all? Welcome back to Dorian's DIY Car Audio. Hey, check this out. I'm in that middle of filming and putting together the power station there using the Tar Amp smart charger and a battery so that I'm able to power things up. Anyway, if you've been watching that, I don't know if you probably can't tell in the videos because I've obviously edited that stuff out, but I've been struggling. And the reason I've been struggling is because, like, in my little garage here, I don't have a ton of like tabletop workspace, and things are kind of disorganized. So let's just do a quick little walk around. I'll show you the kind of the mess I got going on, the chaos. Let's call it there. And then I'm gonna show you the product that I purchased to help me try to keep some of this stuff organized and to also be mobile in a sense for being able to transport some of the materials and tools and thingamajiggies that I use. But all right, check this out, Josh. So here's what I'm building here. And if you haven't seen that video, go ahead and watch it. That is a smart amps, a Tar Amp smart amp charger. It's 200 amps, 280 dynamic, H6 battery, some switches there. Check this out real quick. Boom. Turn it on and you can see my voltage. And we can do the same thing on that guy up there. All right. Anyway, let's shut that off. So you can see, as you can see here, it just got some stuff going. But then look at this. I got, stuff just kind of stacked on stacked. And then this is my table saw. And I'm using it as a workbench. And I mean, there's just all sorts of stuff here. There's, this is the box that the shutoff goes in. And then inside the other box, I have a bunch of battery stuff and terminals. And just look at all of this stuff, right? It's all just a mess, all of it, right? And then over here on another job box that I have my rear end sitting on, that's going to be for sale in the area, but whatever. I have more stuff just stacked there, right? I got tools on the floor. I did do something with my toolbox so that even with it closed, I can still open and close it. But anyway, let's go ahead and let's see what I picked up to be able to mitigate this situation. All right, ladies and gentlemen, here it is. This is the stack set from Hart. I got it from Walmart. I checked it out. I checked out the Milwaukee, Home Depot's brand that they have there, Lowe's brand that they have here. This kind of seemed to be the best option for me. And this is exactly why I particularly chose this brand, was these smaller cases here. Now these are like 21 bucks just for the top case itself. And let's open it up and see what we got. So in here you can see there's what, 2, 4, 6, 8 of these smaller little cases, and then 2 of these, and of course the bigger ones. And of course you can switch those around as you need to. So I did, and they come apart like such. So these just lock in for the next set. So we'll unlock this one here, and then that allows you to, give me 1 second. All right, so check this out. This is the reason that I purchased these here. So these 2 I brought separately by themselves. So we'll just stick that off to the side for right this moment. But in here, what we have is, let's go ahead and it does come with a big zip tie to hold these 3 pieces together, because as you see, I did purchase 2 more of these top pieces, and they were only like 21 bucks and change. But anyway, the way this system works is these blue tabs here, they go in and out. So you just undo that and then that comes loose like such. So check this out. This was the selling point for me. I did look around at a bunch of other companies and they really didn't have one. So some of them had these where they were thicker, they were a lot taller, and they didn't have as much separate compartments in them, or they were just way more pricier. This really fit the bill for me. I'm not a construction guy, so I didn't feel a need to spend all of that extra big Milwaukee money, which, you know, as you guys see around, I don't really use Milwaukee tools, right? Because they're kind of pricey. All right, I use a lot of DeWalt and Bosch, which Bosch is pretty pricey, but I seem to keep finding really good deals on Bosch tools. But let's go ahead and open up this one here so you can see inside and see what sold me on what I was looking for. So there you go, and as you can see, there is 8 of these smaller little compartments, which are nice for some of the smaller stuff that I have. And then there is 2 of these bigger compartments. And then of course, because I purchased 2 extra of these, I could organize those the way I want. I guess I could have one that's just all of these, and then the other 2, just all of these here. But anyway, that's that. And this piece alone by itself is just like 21 and change. But this whole setup, these 3 pieces from Walmart, which is Hart's, that's the only place I know who sells Hart, was like $85 plus tax, something like that. Let's stick this one off to the side and let's look into the next section down. The next section down is you know, it's got some room in here, and I did like that it does have a small little tray. Now I'm trying to see if I can find this tray by itself, because I would like another 1 or 2 of these. But let's go ahead and peep down and see how much room we got in the box. I'll actually even grab the tape measure and measure it out for you guys. So this one here gives you about 16 3/4, let's call it, and 10 5/8, okay? And then it is about 8 3/4 deep. So it's a decent amount of room for what it is. I'll pull you up real quick, let you take a peek inside. All right, and you know, that's cool. I have some plans for these. Mostly what I was looking for right off the rip was the first case that I showed you there. So lock that back up, and like I said, these 2 tabs here, if you can't see, they slide out, and then when you put the other unit in, it clips in the back, and then you clip those. So it's super simple, right? Just like that. Now here's the lower section. The lower section is roughly about the same size as this last section that I just showed you. The only difference with this one being is that it's going to be deeper. And that one that's just about like 12 3/8 tall. Once again, let's call it 16 3/4 by 11 1/2, something like such, right? So simple. And then it does have the retractable handle, like mostly all of them have, okay? And you just grab and it comes up, and that's pretty decent. If you had some decent weight on there, that's pretty decent leverage right there. And I did see this. I thought it was kind of cool. I don't know if you really need it, but this little pouch right here in here is for your cell phone, right? So we'll take my cell phone, and I don't know why you would need it, but if in case you whatever, right? So can you see that? All right, it's probably a little hard to see, but yeah, there's a cell phone in there sitting in its spot, right? So yeah, I think this was a really good bargain deal for all together. Like I said, I think let's say 85, 95, 105. So $125, $130, I think, is what maybe I paid for all of it. And it's really going to help me out. I do have a plan for this. These being so cheap, I may use this to kind of get a lot of my car audio stuff stored in here together. So I have all of that stuff mobile, like if I want to go down in my basement, or like say I was going over, typically I would have you come to me if I was doing something on your vehicle for car audio, but if I was going to you, then I would have stuff in here, and I plan on putting some tools in here also, just typical hand tool type stuff you would use, actually maybe even a little bit more expanded than that. But let's go ahead and slap this all together, and pretty much that's about it. But so like I said, just put it in, and it just sits there. You push that in, and then it's locked in. All right, it's locked in, right? So, and then this piece locked in, she's locked in. And then if you ever wanted to carry two by themselves, right? Like this is locked into the other one. Now I don't know how sturdy that's gonna be, and I don't recommend, like, if you load one of these up pretty heavy, to rely on those plastics. But I think for transporting means, that is gonna be perfect for them to be all locked in together. All right. Now, really quick, so I can show you the different configurations I was thinking about with these. So we see how it comes right now, where you got the 4, 8 little guys and the 2 bigger guys. And let's measure those just so we know how big those are. Because this is storage, right? So you want to have an idea of what you can stack. So that's about 3 3/4 by 3 1/4. So 3 3/4 by 3 1/4, and about 3 1/4 deep, right? And you get 8 of these and one of these top pouches. And then this section here is going to be just under 8 1/8 of an inch long, and then that same 3 1/4 by 3 1/4 deep, roughly. So this is the typical setup that you're gonna get. Now this is what I was thinking here. I could take those out, and they do stack nice if you need to maneuver around, right? Go somewhere with these. They do stack fairly nice, so you have that accessibility there. But if I was to take, that's 4 of them, right? Out of the 4 so far, we'll just set that to the side. Right? So that's another option, where you just have 12 pins in here, right? So that's another option for you. And then here's the last option that I was thinking, and that was all right. So the last option would be to have all 6 of these containers in here, and I think if I do this, this might wind up being something like the different screws that I use. All right, so for box building, you know, and then also for the screws, and I forget what they call them, but the ones I use to run down the hold down the subwoofers, those are they use a Torx bit, and I'm just drawing a blank on the name of them. Whatever. Anyway, so yeah, these are the 3 options that we have for storing those. And like I said, all in all, this all cost me just about $125. All right. This cost me about $125, and it's going to help me out tremendously. It's going to take me some time to kind of figure out how I want to stack everything in here, but between my heat shrink, different little ring terminals, right? Got bags of these different ring terminals. I have a plethora of these ring terminals. This must be 4 gauge with a 3/8 hole in them. They do come with their own heat shrink and stuff like that, right? But man, I got a plethora of things like this. These are different types of battery terminals, right? You've seen these, the 2-to-1 reducers for 0 gauge. These are 0 gauge to 0 gauge adapters, and I have 4 gauges, 0 gauge. Just so much stuff laying around. Wire, right? Just small wire. This is wire that I use for little ground wire, and sometimes even for remote. So sometimes my remote wire is black, whatever. I know what I'm looking for. Hardware. I have a lot of this because of some of the stuff that I do. I do wind up with a lot of this little hardware, you know. So that'd be cool to get stashed away in there. I have other random boxes with, just look at that, all sorts of different hardware, right? And these are going to be cool for me to try to get a grip and get that organized. Down in my basement, I have more boxes like this, look just like this, a mess with stuff, and it's going to work for that. And as I said, for the price point, you really can't beat that. So as I said, just for the price point, you really can't beat it. 125-ish, $30, whatever, and you have yourself a decent little system. For us DIY guys, this is going to be perfect. If you're balling and you got it like that, yo, then good for you. But this is a DIY channel, and I'm a budget guy. I'm not a budget guy because I'm broke, okay? I'm a budget guy because I like to find the best value for things that I need, right? So there's some stuff that I buy that is on a very high end because I need it to be on a very high end. And through my trials and tribulations and my years of time doing the things that I do, I kind of have a pretty decent grip or grasp on what I can buy budget and what I need to be kind of, you know, in that mid tier or in that higher end tier. And I typically don't ever see the super high tier stuff, because at that point either you're gonna pay me to rent it, buy it, or use it, or you're gonna have it for me to use. But for myself, we like to find budget stuff, and if you look at a playlist, I have a section of unboxing stuff. This will be in this section. Check that one out, and check out any other videos if you would like. And let me know if you see something that I have and you want me to talk about it some. I'll do a rundown on it. And as I continue to find things that I feel would be a benefit to you guys, I will put them out there. But as I said, I looked through the other stack-on systems that they have, and I'm not saying that this was the best. What I'm saying is this was the best that fit me for my needs. Okay, the other ones were they had some really fine, fancy accessories, right? But I'm not a framer, so I didn't really need those, right? Some of them have where you can strap your big you can strap your big levels on them and things like that, and so on and so forth. For me, for this, I don't need that. So it really didn't strike my fancy. And there was other things. Some stuff was more gimmicky, and maybe it seemed gimmicky because, like I said, I'm not like a carpenter, so I'm not traveling around with stuff like that. And primarily, I go to work, I do my job, I use my cerveza, whatever it is, my craniums. And half the time that don't even work too well. So, all right, I feel like I'm just rambling now. But anyway, please like, comment, subscribe, share. Let me know what you think about it. Let me know if there's other stuff that you see around that you think I would be interested in, okay? I feel it's cool when other people, I'm sharing this stuff with you so that you know. And if you have something cool that you think that would interest me, drop a comment. Let me know, and I'll check it out. All right. Anyway, until then, please like, comment, subscribe, and share. Peace, y'all. I'm out of here.